Man, bro, did a song with Lil Tim. Shut y'all pussy ass, bitch ass, ain't gonna do shit ass niggas up, man. All that crying and shit by the fucking song. Nigga, get some fucking money.
Chief Keef just pulled a move nobody saw coming. He linked up with NBA YoungBoy, O Block's biggest rival. And now whispers are flying that his own block is thinking about turning on him. OTF members are wild on social media, saying they don't rock with Sosa anymore. And people are saying this situation could turn serious fast. But here's the part most people are missing. Keef has been distant from O Block for years, and now we're breaking down why he really stepped away from the same place that made him a legend. Chief Keef wasn't just another rapper from the neighborhood. He was the face of O Block, the drill pioneer who made the whole world pay attention to Chicago. But somewhere along the way, love turned into tension, and loyalty started looking shaky. That recent link up with NBA YoungBoy didn't just upset OTF, it cracked open old wounds that had been sitting there for years. To really understand how Sosa went from hometown hero to someone catching side eyes from his own circle, you have to go back to the beginning. Back in the early 2000s, before the fame, before the chains, before the million-dollar deals, he was just Keith Cozart, a young kid growing up in Parkway Gardens, known to everybody as O Block. Life there wasn't sweet, and every day was about survival and sticking with your people. Back then, Keef was locked in with the guys, King Von, Boss Top, T-Roy, and the whole crew. These weren't just rap connections, these were childhood friends who came up together in the same rough environment. The bond was deep because it had to be. They shared the same block, the same struggles, and the same mindset that loyalty meant everything. Keef was already showing signs he had something special, rapping and freestyling on a karaoke machine like he knew he was built for more. While Von was building a strong name for himself in the streets, Boss Top carried himself like the respected older figure everybody listened to. T-Roy had a reputation that made people move carefully. This was way before the spotlight hit, when they were just young men trying to make it out of one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods alive. That foundation was real, that history was deep, and that's exactly why what's happening now feels so shocking. They had each other's backs through shootouts, police raids, and non-stop chaos that came with that lifestyle. If one of them got locked up, the rest scraped together money for bail. If somebody felt pressure, the whole crew moved as one. Keef and King Von had a tight bond, but even back then, they were on different paths. Von was building a strong name in the streets, while Keef was locked in on crafting his sound. They were always together, young, reckless, and deep in things that can't even be said on camera. That connection wasn't fake, it was real brotherhood. They weren't just friends from the block, they moved like family. But everything shifted in 2012 when Keef dropped I Don't Like. That song didn't just buzz, it shook the whole music industry. I Don't Like wasn't just a hit, it helped push drill music into the spotlight. The video racked up millions of views. Kanye West jumped on the remix, and suddenly, every big label was chasing this teenager from Chicago. When the Interscope deal reportedly came in at $6 million, Keef's life flipped overnight. He went from struggling in Parkway Gardens to having life-changing money in his account. And that's when the tension started building. Success changed how Sosa moved. The first thing he did was leave Chicago and head straight to Los Angeles. Now in O Block, there's an unspoken code. When one person makes it out, they're supposed to help the whole circle rise. You don't just level up and disappear on your day ones. But Keef made a decision that hit different. Instead of bringing Von, Boss Top, and the rest of O Block with him, he kept it tight and only moved with family. His cousin Tado and Ball Out from Glow Gang were the ones by his side. To some people back home, that move didn't sit right at all. From a business angle, Keef's move made sense. Blood is blood, and he probably felt like he could trust his cousins more than anybody else when real money was on the line. But from the block's point of view, that decision looked cold. The guys back in O Block started feeling a certain way almost instantly. This was the same person they stood behind, protected, and supported before the fame ever showed up. Now he had the spotlight, the deal, the industry calling his phone, and to them, it felt like he moved on without looking back. That's when the quiet frustration started turning loud. People close to the situation say some members expected Sosa to put them on payroll, help line up record deals, or at least fly them out to LA so they could be part of the movement. But Sosa was thinking long term. He was trying to distance himself from the street ties that helped build his image in the first place. After signing a multi-million-dollar deal, getting caught up in drama could have risked everything he worked for. From the outside, it looked like he was choosing safety and business over loyalty. But back home, that choice felt personal. To the guys on the block, it seemed like success changed him. They felt like he forgot the same hallways, the same corners, the same people who were there before the cameras. That tension kept building until one situation pushed everything over the edge. One of the most respected members, T. Roy, ended up locked up on a serious case and needed $25,000 for bond to come home. This wasn't just anybody. He had a strong name on the block and a reputation that carried weight. The pressure was heavy. Over time, people tried hustling in different ways to gather the money, doing whatever they thought would help raise it. The situation was desperate, emotions were high, and expectations were aimed straight at Sosa. From their side, they felt like someone with a multi-million-dollar deal could step in easily. But what happened next would change everything between Keef and O-Block for good. After weeks of trying to gather the money, they only came up with about $18,000. They were still $7,000 short, and the clock was ticking fast. That's when they reached out to the one person they believed could fix it instantly, Chief Keef. From their point of view, this should have been simple. Sosa was making millions, and $7,000 sounded small compared to the lifestyle he was showing online. Plus, this was for T. Roy, someone they believed had stood tall for Keef back when he was just another young guy on the block. At first, Keef reportedly said he would take care of it. No hesitation, no drama. The crew felt relieved, thinking their day one was about to come through like family is supposed to. You can imagine the conversations. They probably started planning for when T. Roy would be home, saying Sosa was still solid no matter how big he got. But then everything flipped. Keef allegedly stopped answering calls. Texts went unread. Messages got no reply. It was like he disappeared when they needed him most. And at the same time, he was active on social media, posting photos of expensive cars, flashy jewelry, and even talking about buying a four-wheeler for $10,000, more than what they needed to close the gap. From their side, that felt like a slap in the face. They were stressed, trying to help their friend while watching someone they grew up with show off money online. That contrast made emotions run high. It wasn't just about the $7,000 anymore, it felt personal. That's when the frustration really boiled over. People started feeling ignored, disrespected, and left behind by someone they once called family. And once it became clear that Keef wasn't stepping in, Boss Top, King Von, and others decided they weren't going to sit back quietly. They felt like they had to handle things their own way instead of waiting on someone who wasn't responding. What happened next changed everything forever. Instead of waiting around, they allegedly came up with a plan that crossed a serious line. They were going to rob Chief Keef. These weren't strangers or random people off the street. These were guys he grew up with. People who knew his routines, knew where he stayed, and understood how he moved. They reportedly broke into the place Keef was renting with his manager, and once inside, things got chaotic fast. It wasn't small or subtle, it was a full sweep. Jewelry, clothes, shoes, anything they could grab was taken. Even small personal items were gone. That's how intense the situation became. One of the most talked about moments was the claim that Boss Top allegedly took Keef's chain during the incident. In street culture, that's not just about money, that's symbolic. It sends a loud message about respect and power. Whether every detail is accurate or not, that story spread quickly and added more heat to an already explosive situation. And then things reportedly escalated even further. During the chaos, someone close to Keef was injured when shots were fired. The full details have never been clearly confirmed, but the fact that weapons were involved shows how serious it got. This wasn't just a disagreement anymore, this was a dangerous confrontation that could have ended much worse. Afterward, the group allegedly used what they took to help cover T. Roy's bond. In their minds, they achieved their mission. They brought their friend home. But whatever bond they once had with Keef was shattered beyond repair. Trust was gone, loyalty was questioned, and there was no easy way back from that. Reports say Keef's former manager contacted authorities during the incident, but when law enforcement arrived, nobody cooperated. That silence followed a code people in those environments often live by. Still, not speaking didn't mean the situation was forgiven. According to those close to it, Sosa knew exactly who he believed was responsible, and that memory didn't fade. Then the story takes an even darker turn. There have been long-running claims and rumors tied to street tensions involving Keef's cousin, Blood Money, and King Von. The full truth has always been debated, and details remain unclear. But those allegations added another heavy layer to an already complicated and emotional feud that was spiraling fast. Blood Money, whose real name was Markel Holmes, was Chief Keef's cousin and part of his Front Street circle. In 2014, he was tragically killed, and that loss sent shockwaves through everyone connected to that world. The official reports pointed to the ongoing violence between rival groups in Chicago at the time. But in the streets, people had their own theories, and the rumors never slowed down. According to Talk Online and conversations from that era, King Von's name kept surfacing in discussions about the incident. Nothing was ever proven in court tying him to it, but speculation moved fast. And this is where everything gets complicated. There were multiple versions of what people believed happened. One theory claimed it was retaliation tied to separate street issues involving blood money. Another theory, much darker, suggested the act was meant to send a personal message to Chief Keef during a time when tensions were already high between him and members from O Block. Again, these are allegations and rumors that circulated, not confirmed facts, but the timing raised eyebrows. This all unfolded around the same period when Keef's relationship with his former circle was already cracking. After Blood Money's passing, Von posted messages online that many people felt were connected to the situation. One post read, "I'm King Von from the O from O Block. I run shit," which echoed a line from a Blood Money track, but flipped the tone completely. That post had people talking heavy. The timing made it even more intense. Around that same stretch, a woman named KY was also killed, someone who had long been rumored to be involved in Blood Money's death. Some believe Von's post was referencing retaliation for that. Others pushed the idea that Von himself played a deeper role in the situation. None of it was officially confirmed, but the speculation kept building. Jay Hood, who has spoken publicly about Chicago street politics in interviews, claimed that during that period, Von and T. Roy often followed Boss Top's direction. If Boss Top had issues with Keef and wanted to make a statement, some believe Von and T. Roy would have been the ones stepping forward. That theory added even more tension to an already explosive situation. The most shocking part of that narrative is the idea that this wasn't just about money or robbery, it was about family. If those allegations were true, it would explain why emotions ran so deep and why reconciliation seemed impossible. Whether rumor or reality, the damage between Keef and his former circle was beyond repair. Here's how many people knew the split was final. When King Von was killed in Atlanta in November 2020, Chief Keef didn't post a single RIP. Not one Instagram story, not one tweet, not even a short message showing love. This was someone he grew up with, someone he used to be around daily, and Sosa stayed completely silent. That silence hit loud. In hip-hop culture, especially in Chicago, when someone from your circle passes, people usually acknowledge it publicly. Photos get posted, memories get shared, captions get emotional. It's almost expected. The fact that Keef didn't say anything at all told people everything they needed to know. To many observers, their bond had already been broken long before that tragedy happened. Von had even mentioned in interviews that he and Keef recorded songs together years back, but none of that music ever dropped. That detail stood out. It suggested that whatever tension existed ran deep. Instead of releasing old collaborations that could have benefited both sides, those tracks reportedly stayed locked away. That move spoke volumes without saying a word. While other Chicago artists like Lil Durk, Polo G, and even some who had their own issues with Von posted tributes, Keef's page stayed quiet. That quietness felt intentional to a lot of people. It came across like a clear message. There was no connection left to honor publicly. Whether that was about pain, pride, or unresolved history, only he truly knows. Fast forward to 2024, and Sosa shook the drill scene again. He stepped into the studio with NBA YoungBoy and started working on music together. And this wasn't just another random collaboration. This was strategic, this was bold. For anyone who understands the politics, that link-up carried weight. NBA YoungBoy has had a long-running feud with Lil Durk and OTF. The tension between those camps has played out in songs, interviews, and social media for years. Diss tracks were exchanged. Subliminal shots were thrown. The rivalry became one of the most talked about conflicts in modern hip-hop. So when Chief Keef, someone with deep history tied to O Block and connections to that circle, decided to work with YoungBoy, it felt like more than music. It looked like a statement. Whether it was about business, independence, or unresolved resentment, the move sent shockwaves through Chicago's drill culture and beyond. For Keef to suddenly pop up in the studio with YoungBoy felt explosive in Chicago's drill world. When that footage dropped, showing Sosa and YB side by side, vibing, recording, and looking completely comfortable, it didn't look random at all. It looked intentional. It looked like two artists building something real, not just testing the waters for one quick track. From Keef's point of view, the timing was sharp. For years, he stayed mostly neutral in the Durk versus YoungBoy tension. He didn't publicly jump into the back and forth, didn't throw shots, didn't pick sides. But this move, this was him clearly stepping in one direction, and it wasn't toward his old Chicago circle. The second that studio clip hit social media, reactions came fast. OTF members and O-Block affiliates started posting messages that made their stance clear. Instagram stories, tweets, subtle captions, none of it sounded friendly. The energy shifted instantly. The message many of them pushed was simple. If you're aligned with YoungBoy, you're not aligned with us. No middle ground, no quiet understanding. Some affiliates posted statements hinting they didn't support that type of move. And it didn't take much reading between the lines to see who they were talking about. To them, Sosa had crossed a boundary that had been sitting there for years. What made it heavier was that this wasn't just random internet noise. People who had real history with Keef were speaking up. Individuals who knew the backstory, the tension, the fallout from years ago, they were making it clear this collaboration felt like the final break. After staying mostly silent about their issues with him for so long, this was the moment they stopped holding it in. And it wasn't just about music. That's what made it deeper. From their perspective, Keef wasn't just recording songs. He was aligning himself with someone who had openly clashed with their camp for years. Someone who had traded diss records and harsh words with people they stood beside. To them, this wasn't business. It was symbolic. In their eyes, Sosa wasn't staying neutral anymore. He was making a loud choice, and that choice sent shockwaves through the entire Chicago drill scene. But Chief Keef's camp wasn't about to stay quiet while OTF threw shots. Glow Gang members jumped on social media fast, and their tone was bold. The message was clear. They weren't losing sleep over OTF's opinions at all. One affiliate basically posted that they don't care what OTF has going on and told them to focus on their own lane. That energy was dismissive and sharp. Another Glow Gang member took it even further by laughing the whole thing off online. Laughing emojis, slick captions, subtle jokes about how upset OTF seemed. They treated the backlash like it was entertainment instead of pressure. That kind of response only added more heat to an already tense situation. Then came the biggest twist. One Glow Gang affiliate claimed that Keef and YoungBoy didn't just cook up one record, they allegedly have 6 more songs ready to drop. That's not a random studio link-up anymore. That sounds like a full project in motion. If that's true, this isn't a moment, it's a strategy. From Glow Gang's perspective, they've been building without outside support for years. They've made their own moves, handled their own business, and secured their own success without depending on Chicago alliances. The message they're pushing is simple. They don't need approval to win. Some posts even hinted that working with YoungBoy could open bigger doors financially than revisiting old hometown connections. To them, this is about growth and money, not old politics. That difference in mindset is what makes this clash feel so deep. And here's the key part. Glow Gang doesn't seem to view this as betrayal at all. They see it as business. Keef is making decisions that benefit his career and protect his interests. If former associates feel a way about it, that's on them. That's the tone they're standing on. But just when things were already intense, the situation took another unexpected turn. Lil Tim, the man who was involved in the Atlanta incident where King Von lost his life, ended up reacting to the online chaos too. And that response pushed the tension even higher. Then things jumped to another level. Lil Tim posted content online that many people saw as him co-signing Keef's decision to work with YoungBoy. And the reaction was instant. For someone connected to the Atlanta incident where King Von lost his life to publicly support Sosa's move against OTF, that hit different. That goes way beyond music politics. The symbolism was loud. It wasn't just about a studio session anymore. It looked layered. Tim stepping into the conversation showed how tangled all these conflicts really are. Different crews, different cities, old history, new alliances. It's all connected in ways most outsiders don't fully see. Some people believe Tim's reaction hinted that there's more history behind Keef and Von than the public knows. Others think he was simply adding fuel to the online chaos and keeping attention on the rivalry. Either way, when someone tied to that Atlanta situation openly backs your decision against Von's former camp, it sends a strong message. To a lot of observers, it felt like Tim was indirectly saying he understood why Keef distanced himself. Whether that interpretation is fair or not, the optics were intense, and that's why this whole situation feels explosive. But to really grasp how serious this is, you have to look at the deeper layers. This isn't just about songs or streaming numbers, it's about loyalty, pride, personal history, and long-standing tension that's been building for years. In Chicago's drill culture, respect carries weight, alliances matter. From Keef's point of view, some would argue he had reasons to move how he moved. There were reports of betrayal, the robbery situation, the fallout with people he once trusted. Losing a family member during a time of tension only made everything heavier. After reaching global fame and changing his life, he may have felt he had to protect himself and his future first. From O Block's side, the story looks different. Some of them likely felt abandoned. They saw someone who made it out, secured millions, and didn't bring everyone along the way they expected. When they were facing struggles, they believed he could have stepped in more directly. The reality is probably layered. Success can create distance. Expectations can grow unrealistic. Hurt feelings can turn into long-term grudges. Both sides may feel justified in their actions. What's clear is this isn't simple. It's years of history, pride, and unresolved tension colliding in public view, and now the whole industry is watching it unfold. What makes this whole situation feel so risky is that both sides truly believe they're right. Keef likely feels he was betrayed first, so in his mind, any move he makes now is just him standing on business. On the flip side, people from O Block may feel he switched up first, which made their reaction justified in their eyes. When both sides feel wronged, that's when conflict runs deep. This tension doesn't just affect personal relationships, it shakes the music scene too. Chief Keef is widely viewed as the pioneer of drill music. He helped shape the sound, the flow, the energy that pushed Chicago rap onto the global stage. So when someone with that kind of influence aligns himself with artists seen as rivals to his hometown circle, it shifts the culture in a big way. It shows that even the founders of a movement aren't separated from the politics tied to it. Street history and music history are intertwined. And when those lines blur, the impact goes beyond streaming numbers. Keef linking with NBA YoungBoy also adds another layer. From a competitive standpoint, having one of drill's originators in your corner carries weight. It strengthens YoungBoy's position in his ongoing rivalry with certain Chicago artists. That cosign alone changes the optics. For artists in Chicago, this creates a tricky decision. Do they continue honoring Keef for his role in building the drill foundation? Or do they distance themselves because of current alliances? Most artists will likely prioritize loyalty to their immediate teams over history, especially when tensions are this public. Now here's why observers say this situation carries serious energy. These aren't just online disagreements or marketing tactics. The emotions tied to this run deep because they're connected to real-life experiences, losses, and long-standing grudges. When loyalty and respect are questioned in environments where those values mean everything, reactions can be intense. The fact that OTF members publicly distance themselves shows this isn't minor frustration. It's a clear separation. In certain cultures, aligning with rivals is viewed as crossing a major line. And once that line is crossed, rebuilding trust becomes nearly impossible. But Keef appears to be moving without looking back. Whether that's confidence, independence, or simply being done with old politics, one thing is clear. He's making his choices openly, and the entire drill world is watching closely. Keef has been based in LA for years now, moving with security, operating on his own schedule, and making decisions without checking in with anyone back home. From the outside looking in, it seems like he's calculated his position carefully. Distance, protection, and independence give him confidence. He may feel insulated from whatever backlash could come from these moves. Now, the big question is this: does this stay online with posts, captions, and music, or does it spill into something heavier? History shows that when tensions mix personal loss, pride, and public disrespect, emotions can run high. That's why so many people are watching closely. What makes this situation even more complicated is how many different rivalries are overlapping at once. You've got the long-standing tension between Keef and people from O Block. You've got the ongoing rivalry involving Durk and YoungBoy. And then there are separate neighborhood conflicts that already existed long before rap amplified them. When multiple storylines collide, the pressure multiplies. At its core, Keef linking with NBA YoungBoy feels like a final chapter in a relationship that's been fading for years. This didn't happen overnight. It's layers of tension, disappointment, pride, and unresolved issues finally reaching a breaking point. Sosa made his choice publicly, and it wasn't with the block that first pushed his name into the spotlight. This goes beyond one studio session, beyond one record. It represents a shift in allegiance, a declaration of independence. Keef is signaling that he doesn't need hometown validation. He doesn't need OTF's cosign. And if partnering with their biggest rival strengthens his position, he's willing to stand on that decision. Fans are split down the middle. Some respect the business mindset. Others see it as turning his back on history. Meanwhile, with multiple tracks reportedly ready to drop, this collaboration doesn't look temporary. It looks like momentum. On the other side, OTF and O-Block affiliates have made their stance clear. In their view, certain lines were crossed. And once loyalty is questioned in that culture, rebuilding trust becomes extremely difficult. What makes the entire situation heavy is what it represents for hip-hop culture overall. Chief Keef could have remained a bridge between generations of Chicago artists. Instead, he now stands separate from much of the city that first fueled his rise. It's a reminder of how personal history, pride, and public image can clash in powerful ways. The same streets that helped launch his career now feel distant. Whether that divide ever heals is uncertain. For the younger generation watching, this story highlights how loyalty, expectations, and ambition can collide. In the world of drill, alliances matter. And when those alliances shift, the impact reaches far beyond the music. This whole situation shows how fast relationships can fall apart when money, fame, and street history mix together. One minute it's brotherhood, the next it's distance, silence, and public tension. When success enters the picture, expectations grow, pride gets involved, and old wounds reopen fast. The entire hip-hop community is watching closely because this isn't just about two camps going back and forth. It touches bigger themes: authenticity, loyalty, and what artists really owe to the neighborhoods that help build their names. When someone rises from the block to global fame, people expect them to carry that loyalty forever. But business and survival don't always move the same way emotions do. Keef choosing to prioritize his independence over hometown alliances will likely influence other artists in similar spots. Future rappers are watching how this plays out. Do you stay tied to old politics, or do you separate completely and protect your career? That's the question hanging in the air. One thing is clear: the Chicago drill scene has shifted permanently. The same artist once crowned the face of O-Block is now standing on the opposite side of certain alliances. In a culture where loyalty carries heavy weight, that kind of divide doesn't get erased easily. And this story isn't slowing down. With more music rumored to drop, more reactions online, and more artists quietly choosing sides, the tension will keep building. Every new song will be dissected. Every caption will be screenshotted. Every appearance will spark new debates. What makes this different is the number of layers involved. Personal fallout, long history, industry competition, regional pride, all of it wrapped together. That's why this isn't just a short-term disagreement, it's something that could stretch on for years. Reconciliation feels unlikely right now. Too many emotions, too many public moments, too much pride on both sides. When lines get crossed in front of millions of people, it's hard to quietly walk things back. We'll keep covering every twist and every update because this story is still unfolding. Keef made a move that reopened a decade of tension, and now the whole culture is watching to see what happens next. These kinds of conflicts don't just disappear. They reshape careers, they shift alliances, they change the direction of scenes. So what do you think? Was Keef standing on business, or did he cross a line that can't be fixed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you rock with this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anyone who's been following the drill scene. Stay locked in because this situation is still heating up, and we're going to cover every single development as it unfolds.